Man, all right. I got a feeling I'm close to being on time. People don't even know, they don't even know it's a show right now. How you doing? My name is Tim Black. Welcome to the Tim Black at Night Show. Glad you could be here. Welcome Periscope. Welcome Facebook. Welcome YouTube people. What's going on? Let me make sure everybody can hear everything. My settings look good, but let me check and make sure. God, I look a little bright. Look a little bright, don't I? Let me go check and make sure people can hear me on Facebook. All right, Facebook. What's up, Facebook peoples? How y'all doing? Yeah, what's up, Peggy? All right, Peggy and Victoria and Dolores. Can you hear me, Dolores? How you doing? What's up, Chris? What's going on? How are ya? What's up, Mark Swanson? George is in the house. Got a crew in the house right now. Yeah. Hey, Tim. Hey yourself. Let's see. Let me scroll down. See if I can get some feedback. Jimmy's in the house. Bibby. Hey, Bibby. How you doing? I'm getting some hearts. That means I think that means we can hear sound. Oh, loud and clear. Okay. George. What's up? Who's that? Evan's in the house. Logan's in the house. All right. Looking good. Looks like we got some V on Facebook. Yeah. What's up, Carrie and Peter? All right. Looking good on Facebook, guys. Hope it's not too bright. Is it too bright? I can bring this down just a little touch, couldn't I? Yeah, I can. I'm like, my forehead is gleaming. Willie beaming. Your forehead is gleaming. Bring that down just a little bit, Tim Black. Just a little bit. Okay, a little bit better. Go in the settings and get my milk chocolate on, but we don't want to be sweaty milk chocolate looking. All right, people, so now let me go check and make sure my people on YouTube can hear the show as well. What's up, YouTube peoples? YouTube in his house. All right, what's up, Eugene? And what's this? Suga, you got a lot of letters there that I don't think I'm supposed to pronounce. What's up, Trudy? A dingo? Tatiana and Fred. Fred says a good sign because the picture was changed. You're right, man. Fred knows what goes on. He's been here a while. Time for the Tim Black. That's right. What's up, Jake? All right. What's up, Chris Hood? Yeah, I got you, Chris. Good to have you. What's up, John? All right. Dash Schust. Why am I? It's like I can't see today. What's going on, man? I mean, I typically can't see too well, but it's like worse today. I don't know what's up, man. All right, now. What's up, Dimitri and Political Verdancy? All right. Political V. All right, guys. So what's going on? We got I didn't even ask you because you're here, but I guess somebody would have told me by now. We got a green strip that says the feed is good. All right. And canned C68, J. Omer and Hoboro. Okay. Let's go, guys. Let's kick this thing off a little bit, all right? I got my coffee just so I can keep going here. You put in some long hours here on the Tim Black Show, man. Between editing and research and shooting and all that good stuff, it's a lot. But it's a beautiful thing when it all works out. Look, I got a couple of stories I want to hit tonight. I don't have a whole lot, but what we do have, I think, is going to hold us down for a minute. I'm going to start off with this. Okay, so National Security Advisor to the President, John Bolton, was fired. Now, I saw him on Twitter saying, hey, I quit. Too late, you've been fired. John Bolton says he quit. He quit yesterday. He wanted to quit yesterday, but Donald Trump wouldn't let him. He told him to sleep on it or let's sleep on it. And then this morning, very publicly on Twitter, Donald Trump gave him the boot. Check it out.
President Trump dropping the bombshell on Twitter, saying about his national security advisor, I informed John Bolton last night that President Trump dropping the bombshell on Twitter, saying about his national security advisor, "I informed John Bolton last night that his services are no longer needed at the White House. I disagreed strongly with many of his suggestions, and therefore I asked John for his resignation, which was given to me this morning." The surprise announcement just an hour before this briefing that the White House earlier said Bolton would attend. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo, who repeatedly clashed with Bolton, insisting he was not blindsided.
Was it news to you today?
I'm never surprised. We work very closely with the President of the United States. I think we have a pretty good understanding of how he's thinking about things.
But Bolton, seen here outside the West Wing this morning, later texting me that he was not fired. "I offered to resign last night. He never asked for it, directly or indirectly. I slept on it and resigned this morning." The chaos capping off Bolton's tumultuous 17-month tenure.
They should listen to the president.
The president who campaigned on ending wars, often joking about having a hawkish national security advisor.
I actually tempered John, which is pretty amazing, isn't it? Nobody thought that was going to happen. I'm the one that tempers him, but that's okay.
Still, their disagreements have been piling up, including the president's visit with Kim Jong-un at the DMZ, a meeting Bolton opposed. The planned strike on Iran in retaliation for a downed U.S. drone. Bolton lobbied for it. President Trump called it off.
I didn't like it. I didn't think it was proportionate.
And just days ago, the president and Bolton disagreeing over Mr. Trump's plan to hold Afghanistan peace talks with the Taliban at Camp David.
It was my idea, and it was my idea to terminate it. I didn't discuss it with anybody else.
President Trump now looking for a fourth national security advisor in less than 3 years. The first he fired, Michael Flynn, in court today for lying to the FBI. Now another shakeup at a critical time.
When the president makes a decision like this, he's well within his rights to do so.
All of this happening at a crucial moment, with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo telling me today that he could foresee a meeting between President Trump and Iran's leader later this month without preconditions.
Okay, so now there's a lot of conversation about this on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere. Everyone's talking about John Bolton getting the axe. We need to make it clear that John Bolton was not well liked by a lot of people for a lot of reasons. One of them being he never met a war he didn't like. The man's been a war hawk since Vietnam. That has not changed. I mean, he called for regime change in Yemen, in Syria, in Iraq, Iran. He wanted war with North Korea. He wants to escalate tensions and incite war in Iran. The guy is a horrible piece of excrement. So, like, that should not be something that's up for dispute. I mean, unless you're somebody who thinks it's cool to bomb other countries and go to war. If that's your idea of what foreign policy should be, bombing countries, killing innocent civilians, and drone attacks that 95% of them hit unintended targets, well, then you should probably feel relieved today that John Bolton's out of there. Now, I don't want to get too ahead of myself because I have no idea who Donald Trump's going to replace John Bolton with. But make no mistake about it, I'm very excited about this. As excited as I can be, still having a moment of dread thinking, I don't expect Donald Trump to go get somebody with sense. Now, the other side of this thing is the reactions that we're getting, right? So that's how most people feel, I think, generally speaking. I don't know what ideology people have. It doesn't really matter. But I think most basically people go, hey, man, war's not good for us. They just think about them. If they just think about the idea of how much money is being spent, that part alone usually deters people like, hey, maybe we shouldn't do that. And the people that make the money is not us. It's not us citizens who make the money. It's the big corporations like Raytheon, Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, other military contractors of DOD, DOE, whatever, armed forces. That's where the money goes. So most average Americans walking around on going, hey, we need to go to war. That'll really help us. Now, some people are delusional in thinking that we go to war and that somehow benefits the other countries immensely when it does not. So that's one part of it, okay? Now, the more complex part that I think we need to have a conversation about is the reaction from people on the so-called left, I don't even, people are actually making the argument that this is bad because Donald Trump makes us look unstable. Yeah, all of a sudden now they're concerned about us looking unstable. Oh no, what will Germany think? What will Yugoslavia think? What will Japan think? What will all these other countries think about us? They'll think we don't have any stability, Johnson. Like, as if you really give a shit about that. I mean, if you really cared about America looking stable, maybe you would talk to your connections at the Politico, at CNN and MSNBC, and all the other news entities that you control, Democrats, and you'd probably tell them to calm down on all the rhetoric about Donald Trump. Maybe you make a phone call to Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert and all your other late-night comedians who you've given the eye wink to trash Donald Trump every day. I mean, come on, let's stop acting like you really care about us looking bad. As a country, you're saying, well, Donald Trump's make us look unstable. You've been calling Donald Trump unstable since day one. And I'm not saying he hasn't given you some, reason to do it. But we all know, well, a lot of us know who watch the Tim Black Show, know you're doing it for political purposes, Johnson. We know you could go another way. We know this benefits you. We know he's a fundraising mechanism. People in the media, we understand why you do it. Got to get the dollars. Yeah, going to be counting up a lot of dollars. So I think it's hypocritical, the height of hypocrisy, to all of a sudden feign as if, oh no, we look bad because Donald Trump has changed and that's national security advisors. This is his third one. Yeah. Was it, third. So, yeah, get that out the way. Get that out of here. Now, there are some people who are saying, yay, Donald Trump. He's doing the right thing, man. I told you Trump was smart. I told you Trump don't like wars. Listen, I tend to agree with you that it's highly possible Donald Trump's not interested in war, but he is interested in money. And since wars make money, I think he may, if pushed, go that direction. Now, look, I don't know what a business guy like Donald Trump, a guy who was hanging out at strip clubs or whatever he was doing, on his gold toilet seats with his gold squatty potty, chilling, before all of this happened, running The Apprentice on NBC. I don't know what he wants to do. I never really saw him as a regime change kind of guy. Maybe a tie change kind of guy. But not a regime change kind of guy. So I kind of get your point there. But let's keep it real for a second. A lot of people say Donald Trump's not a political animal, but he has morphed into one. He is a person who likes to win at games. Even likes golf. I heard he's horrible at golf, but people let him win because he likes to win. Even when he sucks. He doesn't even care if he shouldn't win. All the joy for a normal person would be sucked out of it if you knew you didn't really win and somebody's letting you win. It's like, hey, that's almost insulting. You think I have no skills, right? Not Donald Trump. Donald Trump's fine with people throwing the game, letting him get the W when he doesn't deserve it. So the point of me saying all that is this. Stop worshiping Donald Trump. Stop elevating Donald Trump as if what he did today was somehow a moment of clarity, Lee Camp, a moment of clarity, a moment of him striking back for the people and living up to his campaign promise. Okay? Just calm down on all that rhetoric because it is election time, and I think Donald Trump's been planning this all along. He was going to get rid of this guy. You heard, Pompeo? He said, hey, I'm not surprised at all. Kind of knew this was going to happen. He's been kind of signaling it. Donald Trump's making John Bolton the fall guy. Bolton's a horrible individual. We know this Colonel Sanders-looking mofo, sadistic Colonel Sanders, torture animals, small animals and kids, John Bolton, this Ned Flanders on PCP-looking mofo with probably bodies buried in his backyard. This guy, this Nazi bastard, this warmongering sack of excrement, this warmongering piece of garbage with the ability to walk upright for some strange reason. Like, no one's taking anything away from his horridity, his absurdity, his depravity, okay? His dollar over human being nature, right? No one's taking that away from him. But that doesn't automatically mean that Donald Trump is the opposite. All right? And to that point, I got a couple of tweets that I thought were fantastic that crystallized this whole point that I'm trying to make. The first one is by Katie. My friend Caitlin Johnstone, she says, I'm very impressed with Trump's brilliant strategy or strategic 4D chess maneuver of firing a bloodthirsty PNAC neocon 17 months after hiring that same bloodthirsty PNAC neocon. Yeah. See what she's trying to say there, Johnson? It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear, man. Remember when people didn't like Hillary Clinton? They said she was the queen of triangulation. I was against it before I was for it, Johnson, so therefore I can't be wrong. Because I was against it, then I was for it. I was on both sides of the same issue. I was like that scene in Get Us or Let Us or Be Us. You know, that movie that the guy Jordan Peele did, that wasn't really that good. It was nothing like his first one, Get Out. When they went in the room, there was a bunch of mirrors and the kid was on both sides, on all the sides. You're in a fun house and you got the glass. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, when you walk into the fun house and there's glass and you see yourself, your reflection, you're everywhere. Well, that was Hillary Clinton, and no one liked that type of person. The person who had a private voice or, and then a public stance, a public face, a private face, a two-face, a pale face, all these faces. A face on, a face off. No one liked it because, like, who are you? It's too scary. We don't know who you're going to be tomorrow. Well, that's sort of like the same thing the Trumps learned. Yeah, you can't say I want credit for firing a guy that you hired. Yeah, come on. Well, I let her go. Well, you slept with her and you had babies with her first. But I got out. Yeah, after almost a lot longer than it could have took, Johnson. It's not like you had to go and get, like, an annulment. Could have just said leave. What stopped Donald Trump from getting rid of this guy a long time ago? So what I'm saying is Donald Trump wants it both ways. He wants to get credit for getting rid of the guy he should have already gotten rid of. Anyway, so also with a similar comment that I also agree with that crystallizes this moment is Aaron Mate. Aaron said this. Oh. Excuse me, Katie. Aaron said, as the rest of the world breathes a sigh of relief that an unhinged warmonger is ousted from Trump cabinet, the Democratic leadership laments the chaos and disarray caused by more personnel changes, arguably the lamest politicians in history. Today's action, this is Chuck Schumer. Today's action by real Donald Trump is just the latest example of his government by chaos approach and his rudderless national security policy. When Ambassador Bolton's extreme views aren't enough for you, the U.S. is headed for even more chaotic times. Nancy Pelosi said this with her enlightenment. John Bolton's sudden departure is a symbol of the disarray that has unnerved our allies since day one of the Trump administration. Steady leadership and strategic foreign policy is key to ensuring America's national security. It's all political speak. It's garbage. This is just the beckoing and bellowing and the throw anything against the wall that might stick, that might hurt Donald Trump in the 2020 election. Because we want to run a flavorless, milquetoast Democrat, moderate, and hopefully we can hurt Donald Trump enough where that might actually win. It won't, Nancy. No matter how much you want to make this a partisan thing. Hey, look, man. John Bolton was a tornado of indecency. He was a hailstorm of hate and pain and agony to people all across the globe. And when you miss that thing, or when you get rid of it, or you find a way to fend it off, people rejoice about it. And no matter how much you hate Donald Trump or how much you want to beat Donald Trump, that's not going to change. Donald Trump was the guy who got rid of him. All this jockeying for position about making this look like a bad day, hey, it's not going to work. I understand why you're doing it, and I understand it's going to get a lot of retweets, like that guy Chris Murphy. It's lame. What a lame ass. He got a lot of retweets saying, well, this makes America look like we have no aim, like we have no true vision of. Shut up. Hey, look, man. It's like America had an incurable disease that we found a cure for. Turns out it wasn't incurable, it was readily available. An antidote for it was right there the whole time. It's one that you've heard before. It's called You're Fired. He's gone. Now, what's bad is there's just another one right on the horizon. Because this game that Donald Trump's playing, where he pretends to not be as bad as he doesn't care to be or whatever, he's going to keep playing that game because it's been working for him. And this is why you need somebody that can beat him. All right. But I'm still happy about it because this guy was horrible, Johnson. Oh, horrible, horrible, horrible. All right, what else do we got? Let's go to this. Now, Tulsi Gabbard, hey, she went on the Dave Rubin show. Woo! What made that happen? Woo! Tulsi Gabbard on the Dave Rubin show has been the talk of the day, the weeks already. Since Sunday, it's like, wow, this is going on. Everybody's talking about it. I got to admit, there were parts of it that really caught me. Kind of got my goat a little bit. I'm going to talk about them. But, hey, what can you say? Tulsi Gabbard, people that are shocked that Tulsi Gabbard went on the Dave Rubin show, I don't know where you've been. She's been going on all types of outlets for a while. Now, the conversation, a lot of it was kind of bland in the beginning to me. But there were a couple of points that I do want to bring out, okay? Before I go to the clip, I do have a clip for you. I have a couple clips from it, actually. Hope that I don't get a copyright strike for playing these clips, by the way. Hope Dave Rubin's not petty like that. One of the things that I want to bring out about this is, well, you know, hey, I don't want to give Tulsi Gabbard guilt by association. I'm not into that. I'm a guy who actually went on the Alex Jones show. Disagreed with him, told him so. Told him I thought he was a Looney Tune, basically, on a lot of shit. And, okay. But we were there to talk about censorship, and we talked about censorship. Did people say that I was wrong, say a lot of negative crap? Yeah, they did. That's what they do. They didn't even watch the segment. They don't even know what I said. Same thing when I went on Tommy Lauren's show and disagreed with her about blaming Black Lives Matter for an incident that had nothing to do with Black Lives Matter. People had something negative and smart to say then. Did they watch the segment? Did they know I gave Tommy Lauren shit on her own show? No, they didn't. They didn't care to know. Because their whole thing was about being jealous that I was invited to do something that they weren't invited to do. They like to feign as if they were invited, they never would go, Johnson. They would never go reach a new audience. No, not them. They're above it. They're above reaching new audiences, reaching more people. If they were given an opportunity to reach more people and all they had to do is be honest and disagree with the guy, and if they get mad, the guy hangs up on them, and it's a win for everybody because now you're standing up to him on his own platform or her own platform. Anyway, I digress. The point is this. I'm all for Tulsi Gabbard going wherever the hell she wants to go. Not that she would care what I think anyway. Right? I'm nobody to her. But the point is, I support people making their own decisions. And as long as you are honest and you're not bending to the will of whoever's platform you're on, who cares? But herein lies the problem. I got a couple of problems with things that were said during this interview. And when I say I have a problem, it just means my eyes are a little bit more open about who Tulsi Gabbard really is. All right? So, And it depends on what your ideology is, what you think about that. I'm going to play a couple clips about Tulsi Gabbard, and one I don't agree with and the other I do agree with. Let me play the one I don't agree with. So let me give you the bad medicine first so you'll know if you want to stop watching the show today or not. Here it is, Johnson.
I'm trying to remember, in that first debate, did you speak Spanish?
I did not.
You did not.
No.
So that to me was sort of like the perfect example of, I think you know this about me, identity politics to me,
Yeah.
I truly believe that it is the most dangerous force in American politics today, because it is what will turn us, it's the reverse of what the American dream was founded on, that we would look at each other by skin color and gender and sexuality and all of those things.
I agree with that.
And watching the other candidates do it, and if you had done it too, I would still be saying the same thing. It struck me as the worst sort of pandering of like, do these people not speak English? And if they don't speak English, perhaps we should speak English so that they learn English, so they can be more assimilated and integrated, and all of those things. And yet identity politics seems to have completely taken over.
Yeah, there was a woman, we did a 4th of July parade, a bunch of them actually in New Hampshire. It was right after that first set of debates, and it made an impact on me. There was a woman who was sitting with her family and friends at the end of one of the parades, so we stopped and we said hi, and she was from Central America, and she made it a point to pull me aside, and she put her hands on my arm. She was very serious, and she said, whatever you do in a future debate, don't speak Spanish. She found that to be so patronizing and blatantly so. And I think that the identity politics that are being used, again, to further divide us, to further drive separations between us, and purely for selfish political gain, is a real danger. I agree with you. It undermines that unity that we have. That doesn't come with groupthink or saying, well, hey, we're all exactly the same, we think the same way. Not at all.
Yeah.
It's that unity that we have in recognizing our diversity and our strength in who we are as Americans, and the principles and freedoms that make up the bedrock of our country.
So
All right, so there it is right there. There it is. So Dave Rubin, he said that identity politics is the biggest threat to our politics today. And Tulsi Gabbard said, I agree. I totally fucking disagree. Here's why. I thought money in politics was our biggest threat. Not blacks and Latinos or LGBTQ and Muslims and Native Americans and everybody having separate. I thought that it was money. Thought it was corruption. I thought that's why we don't have health care for all. I didn't know it was because Black Lives Matter was outside, or Kaepernick took a knee, or women wanted the Me Too movement to expand, or I thought it was because we can't get the freaking politicians to keep their hands out of the wallets, or keep their hands in their pockets, or stop taking money. I thought that was our biggest threat. And I thought that's what you thought too, Tulsi. And I get that Dave doesn't, because he's a Republican, basically. Oh, no, he's classic liberal. Code for Republican. Okay, so maybe some people don't think, because everybody's got maybe some people don't think that money in politics is our main problem. I thought it was, but okay, maybe you don't think that. Maybe you think it's voters' rights. You know, like the Voting Rights Act has been diluted and chopped up and spit on and kicked to the curb, especially under Donald Trump. I thought that was part of it, like that fair and clear elections. I thought that's why you put together that legislation to help clean up our elections, Tulsi. I thought you thought that was the main problem. Some way to track our elections, make sure they're actually fucking democratic. I thought that was something that was like at the top of the list. I didn't know that identity politics was at the top of the list for you. I mean, people, look, come on. I don't know. That's what I thought. I mean, it's like number 2 for me. Because I figure if people taking money, then they really have their allegiance to the money that they take. And then we have voting rights where people don't get an actual way to count their vote. Like the 200,000 people who were knocked off the voting rolls in New York. And the countless other incidents of voter tampering, alleged voter suppression, not alleged, the actual voter suppression, all of the shit we went through in 2016. I don't know, man. Are people that wrapped up that they don't see this is a problem, these statements here? Okay. What about gerrymandering? Yeah, what about gerrymandering where they redistrict shit so it helps them? Basically nullifying the vote of countless blacks, Latinos, and other people who might very strongly vote Democratic. What about that? They're basically rigging the system, rigging the vote. Cross-check. I mean, there's a lot of things. You really mean to tell me you think that somebody wanting to be able to get a cake where both the figurines are the same sex is like, I mean, it could be annoying if you're the cake maker. You might not be able to use all your figurines. You got to use all the guy figurines on the cake or whatever. I mean, or if you're that weird woman with the bowl cut who didn't want to give the marriage, to give marriage decrees or whatever, the marriage licenses to the gay couple or whatever. I mean, I'm just trying to figure it out. So I disagree totally, man. I don't think identity politics is the main problem in our politics. I don't get it. And it makes me feel like Tulsi Gabbard only said that because she's on his show. I mean, because she couldn't. I mean, I think if I was interviewing her, which I thought I was going to, if I was going to interview her, and if I asked her, I would think she would say money in politics. I mean, I think most progressives would say money in politics. At least that's what I thought. I'm pretty sure that the comment section is lit, and people have a lot of conversation for it right now. But okay. Maybe part of the thing, and this is something I've come to, okay? I believe everything I just said wholeheartedly. That's how I feel about it. That was my initial reaction to it. But I also realized that my opinion or my view of identity politics may be different than yours, okay? And maybe it's different than Tulsi's. Maybe we're all not using the same definition for identity politics. But see, my version of identity politics is just groups of people who are aligned for whatever grievance or whatever issues that they have, and they want to champion or bring attention to those issues. And that doesn't necessarily have to be race or orientation or even religion. It could be people in my city who have a particular problem. Like not far from me, we got the casino. Would it be identity politics for people who identify, who happen to live in this location, to be more concerned with the element of people that are attracted by a casino at the National Harbor here, right across in Maryland, as opposed to people who come and visit, or as opposed to people in VA who live further away, who live driving distance from the type of environment that may create as far as crime, maybe an uptick of crime. Like, these are things that have been a concern since that casino went up. So when I look at identity politics, I don't necessarily see it the same way other people see it. Then I was thinking, even to give it more nuance, I said, wow, what's going on college campuses? I'm not aware of it. Like, I don't deal with what's happening there. And I'm hearing that if someone says something you don't like on a college campus today, you don't even have to say, hey, I didn't like what you said. You can just report it. And when you report it, you don't even have to give your name, Johnson. You can just give an anonymous report of what you say happened, and then the person will be punished forthwith. And that, to me, is crazy. Like, there's no due process at all. And if that's how you see identity politics in your life, or how you see it play out, then you may have a different interpretation of identity politics and how it impacts the country. But once again, even though I agree that that's horrendous, that's not politics. That's how people are using politics in other ways. Like, when I think politics, I'm thinking elections. I'm thinking how we elect people. not just weird rules people make up on college campuses. But I could see how a person could see that, like maybe Dave Rubin, who's giving lectures on college campuses, maybe to me, I agree more. I see Rubin's point of view on this a little bit better because, like, didn't he try to, like, speak a couple places and people were, like, shouting him down and saying he couldn't speak here, couldn't speak there. Didn't he try to bring on, like, Pete Buttigieg on his show? And then, like, people from Huffington Post like, you can't go on his show. If you go on his show, you're a right-winger, you're an alt-righter. And they're like, oh, man, this is messed up. Just want to have a conversation with the guy. They're like, no. Then Pete pulled out, and then Dave's like, damn, that was going to help my channel. That's going to help grow my audience. Damn, these people suck. So I see Dave's point, but I'm trying to understand why Tulsi Gabbard thinks identity politics is so horrible. You know, and I'm also going to say this. We all look at me, we know I'm a black guy. Unless you're blind, you know that. Even if you are blind, you can hear in my voice that there's black in this voice, okay? It's a little, no, it's more than a little. It's really jacked up that for 400 years, America's been practicing identity politics all this time. But it was just identity politics that suited white people. Like, you don't think it was identity politics when black people didn't have the same rights a horse had? Yeah, it was identity politics. It was just the other way. You didn't think it was identity politics when we had to, if I'm walking on the sidewalk and you're a white guy, you're walking on the sidewalk, I had to walk in the street? You don't think that was identity politics? Yeah, it was your identity, not mine. Or yes, it was not my identity that was X'd out. You know, the one that made my mom sit on the back of the bus, the one that made my parents think the best I could do was work construction like my stepfather because white people were never going to give me an opportunity to do anything else. Like, that's how, like they were like trying to let me know that my heart's going to be crushed by this country. And I'm not like, 100 years old or nothing. I'm talking about 60s. Being born in the 70s, just by America. So I got a hard time understanding, like, everybody's losing their shit now, that there are other groups that are like saying, hey, we've been suffering this is what we deal with, and we're tired of it, we're not taking it anymore. And now majority of people who happen to be white are going, identity politics. But you weren't going identity politics when it was just happening over and over to all these different people. What about the identity politics that America plays every day? When a black family, the average black family has 1/10 the wealth of the average white family. That doesn't mean every white family has a bunch, but the average white family. You don't think that's identity politics playing out in another way? So it's nice to say we should just all kumbaya and everybody come together and we not even pay any attention to what people look like or what people worship or what people date or love or any of that stuff. And that would be great if it actually worked in the real world. Like if that's actually how things work. And people actually said, hey, that's Tim Black. He has a great show. And their first instinct wouldn't be, I bet he's ghetto, or I bet he's violent, or I bet he doesn't know shit because he's black. Or I bet, like, there are people who think that. You may not think that, but other people think it, Johnson. So to me, identity politics is deeper. And I know people want to listen to Jordan Peterson, and they want to listen to Dave Rubin, and they want to say it's not a big deal, we need to get over it. But typically those people are not people who've had to deal with going into the room and being the only black person in the room and getting treated a negative way. Being treated like an outsider. Because you were. You were. But at the end of the day, no matter how pissed off about it you get, black people and Latinos and Native Americans, we don't have any power to change any of it. We don't have any power to make your life unbearable. You beat me to it. Anyway, I understand culture wars. It's a very different challenge. I'm a person who's against political correctness to a certain extent. Like, I think people should be able to tell jokes. And I think you should be able to walk out if you don't like them. Or you should be able to not buy a ticket. That's how I look at it, Johnson. But unfortunately, everybody doesn't agree with me. So, anyway, back to Tulsi Gabbard, back to this. I'm a little disappointed that people think that Tulsi Gabbard thinks this. thinks our biggest problem in politics is identity politics. I could come up with so many other things. I just gave you 3 that I think supersede how people personally feel or supersede the mechanisms that people use. I mean, America's been using things to divide us from day one. If that's the case. Identity politics is a new term. It originated like in the 80s, right? America's been dividing us based on class and money and color and sex forever. It's not new. It's not something that's the most pressing thing in our politics today. Is identity politics. It's been here forever. It's just that the people that it was hurting weren't the majority or weren't the people that were used to having the power. Well, luckily, it's okay, Johnson. We're going to get through this. We don't have to agree on everything, right? No, we don't. We're going to get through this. Now, luckily, there was more said in this interview. Luckily, there was more said in this interview. More, and it makes me feel better that I have something that I can play of Tulsi in this interview that I feel good about. So, here it is.
I'm trying to remember, in that first debate, did you speak? That's not what's going to get you.
No.
Let's just jump back to that incident with Kamala. Were you setting up for that?
No. I mean, I was obviously aware of the different issues. Criminal justice reform is something that I've been working on throughout my time in Congress, and I feel really strongly about. And it's something that she talks about being very proud of, her record as Attorney General, and the role that she had as prosecutor for San Francisco. And I felt it was important that she speak about how she is proud of the record that has really inflicted such harm on people and actually undermined the kinds of changes that we need to see in our criminal justice system. Because it speaks to the whole underpinning of her campaign. Yeah. She's running to be prosecutor, president, a prosecutor for the people. When she was actually the prosecutor for California, the decisions that she made actually ended up hurting people.
So what would you do for the non-violent drug offenders that are in jail now?
I think we need to expunge their records and to send them home. I think they're in jail because of a failed war on drugs. And we've got to recognize now how many generations have gone by who have fallen victim to this failed war on drugs. I've got the only bipartisan bill in Congress to end the marijuana prohibition. And we had a whole group of people who came out when we held the press conference to announce the introduction of this bill. And one of them, there were veterans there who were talking about how folks coming back from multiple combat deployments, dealing with chronic pain, dealing with post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injury, coming back to the VA only to be told, well, look, your only option is OxyContin or highly addictive opioids. Mm-hmm. And being federally prohibited from even giving them a referral in a state where medicinal marijuana is legal to go to a dispensary. They can't even do that.
Right, because that's all run by the Fed where it's still illegal.
Right.
So that still supersedes the state on that?
Right, exactly. And so we talked about states' rights. I mean, this is a perfect example of how it's over 30 states at this point that have done some form of legalization of marijuana, whether it's just medicinal or full recreational. But all of those dispensaries, as well as the people who go there, the financial institutions, is a huge problem. They're all running on a cash market because banks are federally regulated and are afraid of federal prosecution. But that dark cloud of prosecution at the federal level hangs over everyone who touches any part of this. But veterans are being hurt in the process. But there was a guy there who was talking about criminal justice reform. He was there. He was probably about 30, early 30s. And a little over 10 years ago, he was a college student studying computer science in Virginia. And he was charged with 2 marijuana violations. And because of Virginia's mandatory minimum laws, He got 2 back-to-back 5-year sentences. 10 years of his life gone.
Yeah.
And he was not, he took full responsibility for his actions. Wasn't trying to point fingers at anybody else, but he was there just to share his story because there are so many people with similar stories that just show how terrible our broken laws are and how this is a very sensible change that we can and should make very quickly that will immediately have a huge impact on people's lives.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Tulsi. I like this one better. I like this. I like it because I agree with it, right? See, that's the thing. We like what we agree with. But this is human nature, right? I gotta hand it to her. This is what I'm talking about. Only thing I didn't like about this clip, guys, and a lot of people may have missed it because in the very beginning of the clip, he said, "Hey, did you plan to hit Kamala Harris about her criminal justice record?" And she said, "No." She said, "No, she didn't." Now, come on, man. You didn't just come up with that off the top of your head. Like, we weren't talking about it, were we? Were they? I can't remember. But come on. I think Kamala planned to hit Biden. This is what I think, okay? I'm not in the campaign. I'm not privy to any information. I just feel Kamala planned to hit Joe Biden on the busing thing. I think it was a strategy play. Not saying it was wrong, but I think it was thought of, hey, we're going to hit Kamala. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, and I think to suggest that it didn't cross your mind is all of a sudden in the debate, you got your gun loaded on like all the shit that Kamala did, and I'm so glad you did it, but come on, man. You didn't think to do that, like that wasn't a plan to do that? I don't know. It seemed like it was. That's all. Seemed like it was, Johnson. But that's my only thing. I'm so glad she did it. I'm glad she did it. All right, good. Thank you. I agree with her 100%. And the bipartisan legislation, the bill to end marijuana prohibition. I mean, come on, guys. I'm all for legalizing it. And she also explains why we need to do it, because people's lives, the way the lives have been impacted, we need to expunge records. People need to get an opportunity to participate in our society 100% and not be hindered by stupid drug laws from a failed drug war that disproportionately impacted poor people, poor black people, poor Latinos, poor Native Americans, poor people in general, poor white people too. You can get a charge too if you don't have a good lawyer. It's all about if you are this group who doesn't have access to the best defense, you're screwed. And in some cases, as the young man, as the person that Tulsi was describing, 20 years of his life gone. I got a feeling he was a guy without a lot of money. That's what I'm thinking, okay? Typically, money will help you out in a situation like that. So, look, there are many points that could be made in the conversation between Tulsi Gabbard and Dave Rubin. Hey, I don't got to agree with everything. I saw a couple comments in the Super Chat. People are voicing their opinions. After I do the next segment, before we close, I'm going to read those comments. I'm going to respond to it. I'm going to read what you have to say. It's fine, guys. Say what you want to say. If you support Tulsi Gabbard and you think identity politics, as David Rubin stated, is the biggest threat to our political process, well, go ahead and explain why you think that, and I'll read it. I disagree that it is the biggest threat to our politics. It's bad. It can be bad when it's manipulated and used as a wedge, right? Either Republicans, when they use it on the patriotic tip, on the nationalist tip, where they demonize people of immigrants, or when they demonize other people who are not them. That's a problem, right? It can be, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. And it's not the biggest problem. There's always going to be people who use these issues. So anyway, once again, we don't have to agree on it. Go ahead and comment. Super chat, make a comment, and I'll read it. I don't have to agree with it to read it. All right. Speaking of not having to agree with something, oh my God, man, I was doing a show. I think it was my Freedom Friday. Yeah, I think it was either Freedom Friday. I think it was. Someone left a comment about Bernie Sanders in the climate change town hall, because it really wasn't a debate, right? And he made a comment about birth control. And there was somebody in my comment section saying, Bernie Sanders is for eugenics. He wants to slow the birth rate of black people. I was like, where'd that come from? I watched the climate change debate. Where'd he get this idea from, Johnson? If Bernie thinks that, that's horrible. I need to find this out, because if he does, oh man, I'm going in. So anyway, I realized why this person thought the way they thought. I'm not even sure they even watched the clip themselves. I think they read it or heard from someone who has an agenda in mind, which is typically how a lot of smears get spread. But I have the clip for you from the climate change conversation, town hall, and I have the comments that Bernie Sanders made, which people are commenting on. So here it is.
That's not what's going to get you. Let's just jump back to that incident with.
Growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to have abortions or even get involved in birth control, to me is totally absurd. So I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
I want to introduce, our next guest, Grennan Milliken. He's a graduate student at Columbia University studying climate and society. Grennan?
Good
evening. In order to successfully mitigate the impacts of climate.
Okay. All right. Okay, so what I'm getting from this clip is the woman asked him about climate change and asked him about population control, asked him about birth control, right? We got to be real specific about this, because people are assigning their own thoughts in their head to this or to Bernie Sanders' response and basically changing the whole meaning of what he said. All right, so let's just take a second, take a moment. Let's rewatch it and then be very careful, because I don't want to misstate it. I want to make sure I get this right. My bad, guys. Let me make sure I get this right.
Has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain this growth. I realize this is a poisonous topic for politicians, but it's crucial to face. Empowering women and educating everyone on the need to curb population growth seems a reasonable campaign to enact. Would you be courageous enough to discuss this issue and make it a key feature of a plan to address climate catastrophe?
Well, Martha, the answer is yes. And the answer has everything to do with the fact that women in the United States of America, by the way, have a right to control their own bodies and make reproductive decisions. And the Mexico City Agreement, which denies American aid to those organizations around the world that allow women to...
Okay, so I think I get it now. Let me say it this way. I think that the question that the woman asked him is slightly different than the answer that Bernie Sanders gave. Bernie Sanders said nothing about controlling population, but he said, I see your point, but I address these issues by saying we should let women choose to how they want to control their own bodies. I don't understand how saying I empower women to make decisions if they want to have children or not, if they want to use birth control. He didn't say, I want to give all the black babies birth control, or the black baby mamas birth control, or I want to go to Africa and give all the African mamas birth control, or I want to go to Mexico and give all the Mexicans birth control. He said, if they don't want to have babies or a large amount of babies, they don't have to. It's the same right you have in America where, well, he's saying that other people in the world should have the same right that Americans have, which is to control their bodies, their own bodies, and make their own decisions if they want to have babies or not. I'm not understanding why people are making that seem like he's Margaret Sanger or he's for eugenics or something. He didn't say, I want to lower black birth, which is what genetics is when you want to go after a certain group of people and try to control who is born. He didn't say that, or say some people are unfit to be born. He didn't say that. He said he want to give women the access to birth control so they can decide if they want to have kids. I don't see that this is a reach, man. I wonder where in the hell did they get this type of idea?
Growth has more than doubled in the past 50 years. The planet cannot sustain.
And Andrew Yang said nuclear should be on the table, too. I want to play one more soundbite. Bernie Sanders responding to a question.
I think, especially in poor countries around the world, where women do not necessarily want to have large numbers of babies, and where they can have the opportunity through birth control to control the number of kids they have, something I very, very strongly support.
It was a question about population control and abortion.
And he further said that he thought that U.S. taxpayers should fund abortions in third world countries. This was actually a really interesting and horrible thing to hear someone say, that part of the global warming fighting agenda is to go after black and brown kids in third world countries, particularly from someone like Bernie Sanders, who has 3 houses. But there's something to be appreciated about the candor with which he displayed his eugenics and his support for eugenics.
We will see how this all plays.
See, this is one of the reasons why I keep being a fierce advocate for Bernie Sanders, and this is the reason why I do my best to speak up on these issues. Nothing he said in his comments said anything about eugenics. Nothing in his comments said he was trying to focus on stopping black folks or brown folks from having babies. He said what they wanted to do. He didn't say what the government wants them to do or what America wants them to do. He said if they want to do it. That's the difference. Not forced sterilization. You do understand that's what eugenics was, right? See, this is part of the thing. There are people who don't understand that Bernie has the best policies. Follow me here, guys. Bernie has the best policies for black folks in the United States. Bar none. Period. End of fucking conversation. There are people that don't want you to like Bernie because he has those policies, because he is challenging the system and he's threatening to take money out of the pockets of Wall Street and these big corporations. Do you understand? Do you understand what misinformation is? Do you understand what propaganda is? And do you understand that people that you watch or people that you like or people that you think are on your side may actually not be? Come on, man. The reason why this lady just smeared, what does Bernie have in a couple of houses? Bernie is the brokest senator in America. And he's 78. He's been a senator for a long time. He's the brokest senator in America. And they still talk about him having a couple of houses. Dianne Feinstein paid as hell. If you compare Bernie Sanders' money to Dianne Feinstein's money, he's got his pockets inside out. He's got on shoes with holes in them. He's catching the bus, and he's begging for a bus token if you compare their money. You understand what I'm saying? But you listen to this. So when you're listening to these people who are smearing Bernie Sanders for stuff he didn't even say, who are drawing their own conclusions to steer it in the conversation, why do you? It's the same thing with the reparations conversation, where they try to make Bernie seem like he's the most horrible racist candidate running because he doesn't support H.R. 40 or he doesn't support reparations. Once again, I don't agree with him not supporting H.R. 40. Okay? I don't. But there are people who signed on to it this election cycle who have been in Congress for several years. That bill was there for 20 years. They just signed it now because they're running, and they're pretending, they're feigning like they care about reparations. They only care about it because they know it's a way to hurt Bernie Sanders. Because once again, Bernie Sanders has the best policies that will help not only black folks, but I'm talking to black folks because they're making this about black folks. They're not making this about white folks, Johnson. That's what they're making it about. Understand when you're being targeted and when there's a smear campaign underway. There are people right now who are taking a big dump on Bernie Sanders for some reason this election. I don't know why. Last election, they supported him. This election, it's a different story. I don't know where that's coming from. Kind of weird. Kind of weird to me. His policies only got better. His criminal justice bona fides only got more strategic, more precise, more emphatic. His policies only got more backbone to them. They only got fleshed out further. They only became more empowering to poor people, to the middle class, to black people, to Latino people, to all people who work for a fucking living. But for some reason, this is the type of story that gets legs. I'm not telling you to don your aluminum foil hat. I'm not telling you to go join the InfoWars crowd, but I am telling you to open your damn eyes, man and woman. There's a reason why they smear There's a reason why they smear Bernie Sanders the way they do. Giving a woman who asks for it, who wants it, a birth control pill is not the same thing as sterilizing her against her will, which was what was done in America. Get it right. People rewriting history. All right. Well, guys, follow me at Real Tim Black on Facebook and Twitter. Email me if you're pissed off at tim@timblacktv.com, or better yet, if you want to cuss me out, send it to your mama's house at timblacktv.com. That's where I'll be. What else? Thursday are going to be debates. Right, we're going to have debates Thursday. I'm looking forward to covering it. I'm disappointed once again that Tulsi Gabbard's not going to be in those debates. I was also thinking, guys, I don't know if you know about this, what you thought about this, but maybe by the time the next debate comes around and Tulsi qualifies for that debate, maybe some more people will have dropped out. You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, maybe some more people will drop out. Get out the way, you know what I'm saying? I mean, they don't have anything unique to say. At least Tulsi has a unique point of view. Like, there's nothing unique about Amy Klobuchar. She needs to go. Go. Mike Bennett, go. Leave. Get out. There are people that need to go, man. Like, let's go ahead and just whittle down the field. Bill de Blasio, just whittle it down. Just cut off separate the wheat from the chaff. Just go ahead and silence, remove, scrape away, give it a taper. Get these people the hell out of here, Get them out of here. All right. Now I want to go to my super chat and see what people have to say. I know this is going to be very interesting. It's going to be very interesting. Let's see what people were saying, Johnson. Jackie says, love your show. Keep fighting a good fight. Oh, Jackie, my first comment is not Tim, go to hell. You are crazy for saying that money and politics is our biggest threat to our politics? Yellow Vest says some people are just sipping on too much aloha to see reality. That's all I'm saying. Like, damn, dude. For real? I mean, I call out Al Sharpton every day for his complicity with the Democratic Party and being basically a coon sellout or whatever, right? But Al Sharpton ain't the biggest problem, him playing racial politics. He's been playing racial politics since the 60s. Krilla, you can have multiple problems at the same time. Identity politics is destroying the country. Damn, it's destroying the country. It is turning people against each other. I support her for this. That's fine. Krillin 876. I don't know if that's what's destroying the country. Yeah, I thought it was corruption. I thought it was climate change. I thought it was mass incarceration. I guess it all depends on what's important to you. You know, I thought it was poverty and low wages. And Andrew Yang said it was robotics and automation. But I guess now, since Tulsi said it's identity politics, I guess that's what it is, huh? Hey, everybody's got their own opinion. I disagree. J. Vale says, sorry, Tim. I tried recycling my own joke in your comments, super chat. I now leave funny to you and your Warren impression in 2019's Summer Jam. Blessed be. Oh, man, thank you, J. Vale. And, well, golly gee. Gee Willikers, J. Vale. You were watching that Tim Black. He's such a fancy pants pain in the ass. I'm snickerdoodles, just warm up my snickerdoodles and my sticky buns, and I'm going to get in there because I'm in the fight, and I've got a plan for that. He's Tim Black with his shaved head, his milk dud head, and his bad ideas. He's horrible. Fiddly sticks and bubblegum treats and hubba bubba. Really tans my hide with this. Really chafes my butt cheeks with this. This is really disgusting how this Tim Black is. Golly gee. All right, Mr. Oruki says, did you see TYT's video on Tulsi Rubin? No. No. So that's something I try to do, man. Well, Mister, one of the things I try to do is when I know I got especially when I got a hot button story, I try not to watch anything on it except the piece of content I'm going to be commenting on, because it'll cloud you, man. Like, I don't want to hear anybody else's. Certain stories are way too important for me to watch somebody else. I don't want them to affect me at all. I don't know. But see, I'm a person who's supportive of Tulsi. Notice how I had an issue that I disagreed with her on, and then I had something I supported her on. Because that's how I genuinely feel, right? Now, other people who are always knocking her or attacking or whatever you want to call it, whatever they're doing, right? We're going to be on a different side on this thing. So I wouldn't want to watch them anyway because I know where they're coming from. I know it's going to be tainted. You get what I'm saying? Anyway, Mr. Ogaji says, Tim, why is it the left wants women to have the right to choose? Should men have choice to not provide? Should men have the choice not to provide support? I think no one should have the choice not to provide support, man. And I hate saying it. I'm a guy, right? I get your point that if a woman can decide not to have a baby, to terminate the pregnancy, why can't a man decide not? You're talking to a guy who's got kids, man, and grandkids. Me and my wife got together. We were in high school. And, I started young. It was tough, right? We had babies way too young. We shouldn't, what were we doing? We was kids having kids. But child support, I think our child support system is screwed up. Look, our child support system is screwed up like hell. Period. In America, they could do a lot. We spend money on a lot worse things than kids. We should be spending more money on kids instead of bombs. Instead we're spending money on bombs that blow up other kids. It doesn't. So think about that. All right, Ho Chi Minh. The problem with identity politics is when it says of the top richest people in the USA, at least 4 of them should be women of color. It's not that nihilism nonsense that is dividing us. Yeah, like you can't, like, see, that's what I'm talking about. That's horrible. But see, that's not what they're talking about. They're talking about politics, right? Identity politics has to be a political bent. It can't just be them saying in business, this should be for, women of color. I don't agree with that because we don't know if the people had the same expertise. I'm telling you, running your own business is hard as hell. I know. Many of the times you see this show, I'm drinking coffee for a reason. Because I've been up 20 hours, right? Because if I don't do it, it don't get done, and I want to be viable. I want to be successful. And I've been at this for 6 years. And for the last 4 years, I've been on it. People know I'll be up till 5 o'clock this morning working. So, but yeah, I understand your point, right? But when I'm thinking about in the way that Dave Rubin and Tulsi Gabbard were having that conversation, I don't think they were talking about your example. But I agree in your example, bro. I agree in your example. They're saying, oh, wow, we got this many rich people or this many people, whatever, who are the richest people, then shouldn't that be more? Everybody should. No, I don't. It's too difficult. But I do think there are some impediments that are structurally make it harder for some groups of people to achieve, and we should do something about that because we had the ability to do it. If the richest country in the history of countries can't make a more level playing field so that all people have access, not the same access, like they say, access but not the same outcomes, right? Access. But guys, like my access is not the same access as some other people, right? At the ability to even take a strike, to take an at-bat, to even get an at-bat. So that's part of the problem, okay? You don't have the same opportunity to get an at-bat. And that's just not me. We're talking about generally speaking. We can start saying general, not just one person's story, because you're always going to have your LeBron, you're going to have your Beyonce, you're going to have, Byron Allen. Look at Byron Allen. He's humongously successful. Same thing goes for a lot of other people, Like, come on. I'm saying? Look at Lee Daniels, man. He's killing it. Great director, making lots of money. Like one person or, we talk about generally speaking, We got issues in this country. We need to resolve them. And I'm not saying it's not a problem when people are like, well, I'm black, so look. Like, did you work? Did you get, are you killing it? Are you up working? Are you dedicated? Are you in the right profession? Do you have a natural skill, a talent, ability? What are you doing? Like, I don't think people should just show up and be like, I'm black, give me money. I don't think that. But I'm telling you, man, there are impediments, structural impediments that people don't see. And that's to all people, like this, to women too. And I'm saying champion for that is not necessarily divisive unless, you look at it that way. Next comment, I got one more comment. Antonio T says, I think Tulsi needs to challenge him more because she seemed to accept his premises, even if supports no, she doesn't fully agree with Rubin. Yeah, I can't give her that. I understand your point. I wish you would have pushed back and just clarified. I think that identity politics is a problem when it's misused. And here's why. But it seemed like maybe there was a reason why she didn't. And I think the reason why she didn't because she wanted things to go over well with his audience. And then, oh, no, she didn't care about the audience. She didn't care. Well, she's on his platform. Who do you think she's talking to? All right? Like, okay. Like I said, I'd have been fine with it if she would have said it is an issue. She interrupted him and said, I agree with you. He said it was the biggest issue in our politics was identity politics, that it's dividing the country. First of all, I don't like this whole premise that that's what's dividing the country. The country been divided for a long time. In fact, I could think of some times when we were a little bit more divided than we are now. There was this whole time period called segregation in Jim Crow. You may have heard of it. It preceded identity politics. In fact, identity politics was created because of segregation in Jim Crow. So get that shit right. So what about that, Johnson? But once again, when anything can be misused or overused and manipulated and ruined, right? So that premise is totally different. And if it would have been me with Dave Rubin, and I don't know why it isn't, I don't know why Dave Rubin hasn't had me on, I would have said that. And then we'd have had a conversation about why I feel that it's not the only problem we have. I would have brought up corruption in politics. I would have brought up gerrymandering and cross-check. Your name's Johnson and his name's Johnson. Uh-oh, someone's trying to vote twice. This is bullshit. So we're just going to pull everybody off the voting rolls whose last name is Johnson. I mean, that's what they were doing, man. That's a threat to our democracy. But somebody complaining about something about Kaepernick is bigger. Yo. All right. I love you guys, man. And I'll see you on the next one. Look out. And look. It is what it is, all right? It is what it is. I can disagree. I disagree. All right, I'm Tim Black. Find me at Real Tim Black on Facebook and Twitter. I think I already said that. Become a Patreon member. Become a member of the Wolfpack. Get yourself a Tim Black Wolfpack gift pack. That's right, a Tim Black Wolfpack gift pack. Send me an email if you are $5, because I buy this stuff. I'm going to send you a goodie bag, right? But you got to email me at clientcare@timblacktv.com. And send me your mailing address, so I can send you the goodies, okay? Also, I have a Facebook group called Tim Black Speak On It Group. Please join it. We're going to be continuing conversations there, and I want us to be a force as we get to 2020 where we can send out important information to share with the masses. I want you to be a part of it. Tim Black Wolfpack, we ain't funded by the DNC or the GOP. That's why I can speak freely about any topic. And when we disagree, it's not because somebody paying me. It's because we just disagree. And that's a breath of fresh air. Isn't it, Johnson? Kyle said, Bernie seems to be selling his soul. He supported Russiagate, also did not back up Tulsi. Humans are not too big of a burden once they exist. All right. Oh, by the way, in that interview with Dave Rubin and Tulsi Gabbard, he specifically asked Tulsi Gabbard, was the election rigged against her? Did the DNC rig it against her, the polls rigged? She didn't say yes. She said there needs to be more transparency. But you think that Bernie was supposed to say something harsher. I don't know. I wish he would have. That would have been nice. But there's a reason why neither Bernie or Tulsi, neither one of them are saying the things you think that Bernie should say. And she was on a right-wing guy's broadcast and wouldn't say it. But you think that Bernie should have said it on The View. I'm just saying, man, you can't have it both ways. Just saying. All right, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.